Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is already considered one of the best RPGs ever made. However, with it originally releasing all the way back in 2003, it's safe to say that KOTOR is looking a little long in the tooth. This sentiment is echoed by the announcement of a KOTOR remake at the PlayStation Showcase in 2021. Unfortunately, the remake has had a tumultuous development cycle in the 3 years since, with the game changing hands multiple times and even having development stopped indefinitely at one point before being started back up again. A rocky dev cycle never seems to end well and is surely a cause of concern, even with the Saber Interactive CEO coming out and stating that the KOTOR remake is alive and well. But despite the concerns, I'm still optimistic. I just finished playing Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic for the first time and was blown away at how well the game as a whole holds up even with so many individual parts feeling so outdated. So time to kick back, relax, and talk about why the KOTOR remake could be the best RPG ever made. Spoilers incoming. The story of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is something that I didn't expect to love so much. Star Wars is a behemoth of a franchise and has huge appeal for a video game. But for me, I've never seen any of the movies or played any of the games. This was the first piece of Star Wars media I've ever consumed. I had absolutely zero sense of nostalgia for the franchise, which makes it all the more surprising that this story had me hooked. You start off waking up on a ship being attacked by the Sith. Your character seems to have no idea what's going on, where you're at, or who you are. This just seemed to be a way for you to imprint yourself on your character. Obviously, I have no idea what's going on either. I just started a new game. Little did I know the real reason your character was so clueless, and how big a part this would play in the rest of the story. You fight your way through the Ender Spire and make your escape to Taris. Here, you and your first companion Carth are tasked with hunting down and saving Bastila, a Republic Jedi that has been captured by the Sith. Her battle meditation makes her an incredibly strong ally for the Republic, but also a powerful target for the Sith to capture and try to turn to the dark side. Once you save Bastila and escape Taris, you meet with the Jedi Council, get trained in the power of the Force, and are introduced to the bulk of the game, tracking down the star maps on various different planets, and trying to figure out why Darth Malak, the current Dark Lord of the Sith, and his prior leader Darth Revan, who we are told was killed by Bastila, were seeking out the star maps. This hunt took us to multiple planets, each with a whole backstory and their own issues you can help solve in the form of side quests. And once you head out looking for the final star map, you're captured by Darth Malak and the big reveal takes place. It's finally revealed why the Jedi Council and Bastila have been so reluctant to go into detail about the death of Darth Revan. Why they've been so concerned about you potentially turning to the dark side. It always seemed so overbearing. Like, damn bro, I'm doing a light side playthrough for my first experience, get off my back. But the Council was so afraid of the dark side pulling you in because it's revealed that you are, in fact, Darth Revan. You were betrayed by Darth Malak so he could take over as the Dark Lord. And instead of killing you, the Republic decided they could use you to try and track down the star maps. They wiped your memories clean and hoped that you wouldn't be lured back to the dark side. This revelation was perfect, and I was so captivated by this twist. Thinking back on it, there were subtle hints and breadcrumbs to the reveal laid down constantly throughout the story, and it seemed obvious in hindsight, but I never saw it coming. It was such a great moment in storytelling that really sucks you in and gets you invested in the universe. Take the companions, who not only help you on your mission, but all have their own personal storylines that coincide with your journey along the way. You start out with Carth, who is very reluctant to trust you, constantly anticipating your betrayal. Not because he knows that you're the former Dark Lord, but because his commanding officer Kareth betrayed him, killed his family, and joined the Sith. Every so often you get a little more of the story, until he finally tells you about Kareth. Kareth is one of the final Sith soldiers to try and stop you before you face Malak for the first time. As we take down Kareth, his dying words were whispering something to Carth, probably telling him our true identity. Instead of Carth finally getting closure, he instead is given even more reason to distrust us. He wanted to confront Bastila about it, but on the way out, we face Malak for the first time and Bastila is captured, so he never even gets that chance. On the first planet we land on, Taris, the story leads us to Mission and her Wookiee friend Zalbar. Mission's story arc is that her brother left her to be with a girl and he never came back, and so her only friend is Zalbar. Now that I think of it, I never hunted down her brother, which is where that companion quest seemingly would have led. Sorry, mission. Not to mention her homeworld gets destroyed as we escape Taurus, so her brother won't be returning there anytime soon. Better luck on my next playthrough. But her friend Zalbar is a Wookiee who has kicked off his homeworld for breaking Wookiee code by using his claws as weapons, deeming him a Mad Claw. He found out his brother was working to sell Wookiees as slaves, and when he tried stopping him, he would attack with his claws. His father takes Zalbar's brother's word over his, and so he was exiled. He comes with us to revisit his homeworld Kashyyyk in search of one of the star maps, and while we go there specifically for the star maps, we help Zalbar regain his honor, save his father, and take down his evil brother. While on Taurus, we become acquainted with Canderous, a Mandalorian mercenary, solely because we're both looking for a way to escape. He is very standoffish in the beginning, not respecting us very much at all. But he slowly opens up about the Mandalorian Wars, and once it's revealed that we are the former Dark Lord, he openly praises us, since we were the sole reason that the Mandalorians lost that war. Our biggest critic becomes our biggest fan. Also on Taurus, we save Bastila from being captured. Well, not according to her, but we did our part. She's the badass Jedi with battle meditation that can sway any fight in our direction. At first, we don't know why she's so important, but it's slowly revealed that she was the one chosen to guide us on our journey. We have a strong connection in the Force with shared visions of Malak reaching the star maps, and obviously, she's a total babe. I loved being able to childishly flirt with her every chance I got, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to save her from the dark side after she was captured and ended up having to kill the love of my life. So sad. While visiting Zalbar's homeworld, Kashyyyk, we came across another Jedi living in the woods by himself. Jolee is the old, wise Jedi. Always wise as to what will be coming next, but very hands-off in wanting us to figure things out on our own. He dodges most of our questions as we talk throughout the game, and even says he knew that we were Darth Revan after the big reveal happens. It was nice having a wise companion to accompany us, even though I didn't appreciate his constant passive-aggressive comments. We also get a droid companion T3-M4. Really rolls off the tongue. He plays a pivotal part getting us into the Sith base, and I also use him to rescue the team after being captured in the Leviathan. But as a character, he just beeps and boops, so we never really got to connect on a deeper level. There are 2 additional companions that I missed on my playthrough. I didn't get Juhani because I failed to persuade her and had to kill her, and there's also HK-47, a hunter-killer droid that I never saw in my playthrough. I guess I didn't search thoroughly enough. All in all, the companions are an integral part of KOTOR. Each character having their own goals and desires while also assisting you on accomplishing your goals helps make the universe feel believable and lived in. And having unique dialogue choices for each companion, light and dark side responses, and allegedly even romance options just adds to the replayability of the game. I'm definitely gonna need to replay again just to steal Bastila's heart. But the depth behind each character complementing such an engaging story is what makes KOTOR such a legendary game all these years later. Okay, so while I've been mostly gushing over Knights of the Old Republic so far, there are plenty of issues that the remake can and really needs to fix. I wanted to outline why the original has such an incredible foundation that can be elevated to legitimately be the best RPG ever made. But it's time to talk about the things that I really disliked. Obviously, it's easy to knock on the graphics of a 20-year-old game, but I don't think the game looks bad at all. The facial animations aren't great, but the actual look of the game is much better than I expected. I was actually blown away at multiple different times where I was walking through tall grass. It's not great by modern standards, but it's immersive in that it feels like you're actually going through tall grass. It's clear BioWare did an incredible job with the technology that was available to them at the time. However, there's no doubt that this game is going to look incredible when brought up to modern standards. What took me the most getting used to was by far the combat. It's unlike anything I've ever played. I guess it's technically turn-based, but it happens in real time. It feels more like a simulation. You have the option to choose up to 4 actions to add to the queue, which include various different attacks, Jedi powers, and item usage. Once I adapted, it was fine for what it is, but I would really love to see the combat refined or just straight up reworked from the ground up in the remake. Maybe some purists would disagree with that. Maybe the combat's part of KOTOR's charm, but I just think it could be done way better. I'm not sure what that would look like exactly, whether they make it full-on turn-based or just real-time third-person action combat. My personal preference would probably be the latter, just getting to control my character and command my companions the same way you do in Mass Effect. But if they do decide to keep the same combat system, I hope they make it more engaging. Because there were times where I felt like I was playing Madden franchise mode just simulating my season when I was getting into large battles. My only other complaint would be performance issues. I couldn't figure out a way to play in a 16:9 aspect ratio, which is why you see the black bars on all my gameplay. Apparently there is a way, but it didn't seem like a simple fix. And I constantly ran into issues where I couldn't move my character after combat. This seemed to only happen on melee characters, so I typically could switch to Karth or Canderous and use them to continue until I went through to the next loadable area, and then it would let me move my main character again. This was a minor inconvenience, but there were missions that I had to do alone where I was the only available character, and then I would just get stuck. Or even times when I had 3 Jedi and all 3 characters would be unable to move. The fix would be just to save where I'm at, reload the save, and then I'd be able to walk again. But this was really annoying, especially when I'd have to do it after every small battle. I played on the PC port, so maybe this isn't a thing on the original console versions. I don't know, PC's just where I ended up getting the game. I also had issues when some cutscenes would play, it would just continuously minimize my game when trying to load the cutscene. And for the sections when you're using the cannon in space, for some reason I'd be stuck at the loading screen even though I could hear myself shooting the cannon. I'd have to load my last save and just hope it works the next time. These are all minor issues individually, but when you're dealing with them all, it makes the game feel unpolished. Again, this could just be the PC experience. It's never a smooth ride trying to run a game from 20 years ago on modern hardware, but it definitely dampened my experience nonetheless. These are all things that you would expect to be ironed out in the remake and should lead to a much smoother experience overall. But I guess you can never predict what modern gaming has in store for us. All in all, KOTOR has one of the most solid foundations you'll find in an RPG. It has an amazing story, multiple explorable worlds, choice and consequence that encourage replayability, and tons of side content that'll have you wanting to come back for more. It did the impossible and took someone who has no prior knowledge of the Star Wars universe and has me wondering what I've been missing out on all these years. I'm interested in watching the movies, playing the games on Game Pass, and have gone from having no interest in the KOTOR remake to highly anticipating its release. Let's just hope the troubled development cycle doesn't end up with the game getting cancelled. I'm even looking to play KOTOR 2 now, although it wasn't made by BioWare. Apparently they wanted the sequel done in a year and that wasn't realistic, so it went to Obsidian. The more things change, the more they stay the same. As someone who recently played through the Mass Effect trilogy for the first time with the release of Legendary Edition, it was really cool seeing a sci-fi RPG that BioWare made prior. You can definitely see the building blocks of what became Mass Effect present in KOTOR. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is a masterpiece of a game that deserves a reimagining in modern tech. All of the systems and concepts are there for an incredible game, and if they can touch up on all the issues you're bound to run into in a 20-year-old game, the KOTOR remake has the potential to be the best RPG ever made.